Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3307. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. This week, Frontier confirmed that Elite Dangerous is coming to the Xbox Game Pass. We have a few new snippets of information on Odyssey, and the Alliance is going into business with the Lakon Spaceways. Frontier have today announced that from the 25th of February, Elite Dangerous is coming to the Xbox Game Pass. The subscription service is home to hundreds of games for both the Xbox console as well as PC, with subscription prices starting at $9.99 per month. Whilst some games are available to both the Xbox and PC on this subscription, Elite Dangerous will be available only for the Xbox. It's likely to bring a fair few number of new players into the game, which is always a good thing. Player numbers, meanwhile, have maintained a very high level on Steam, and with over 8 million copies of Elite Dangerous on all platforms, the game has been doing pretty well. As a part of a Q&A with content creators, Frontier provided some new information on Odyssey this week. First though, let's start with a couple of generalised pieces of information on Elite. Frontier pointed out that the new enhanced missile rack is now available to everyone after it was unlocked via the recent community goal. In order to pick up one of these missile racks, players need to deliver the required materials to a human tech broker. Towards the end of last year, Frontier started doing a few balance passes on credit earning in Elite. This is something that will be continuing in the future. Further, as a part of the balance passes, Frontier will be taking a look at the performance and utility of ships and doing a rebalance here. This work is currently on hold until after the release of Odyssey, however it is something that will be happening. In regards to Odyssey itself, people have been wondering if the new planets with a tenuous atmosphere will be accessible for non-Odyssey owners, even if they perhaps wouldn't be able to walk on them. Frontier have now confirmed that anyone without Odyssey will be blocked from accessing planets with any atmosphere, much in the same way as owners of Elite were once blocked from landing on planets if they didn't own Horizons. Now, in terms of these planets themselves, Frontier mentioned a few weeks ago that some planets will be too dangerous to walk on. It's been asked what the limitations are that will prevent players from walking on certain planets, and whilst Frontier haven't given precise numbers, they have now reiterated that any planet that is too hot or too cold, or indeed has gravity that is too high as well as too low, will be inaccessible for the purpose of walking. However, players will still be able to fly and drive on these worlds. Finally, I was curious whether it will be possible to walk inside those awesome Thargoid bases, you know, the ones with the great light chamber in the middle. Well, Frontier have said that yes, this will indeed be possible. Likewise, it will also be possible to walk around those Guardian ruins as well. Meanwhile, the Frontier community team are seeking an answer on whether there will be new additional structures that players will be able to drive inside of and then walk around. So a few little bits of information there, looking forward to seeing more in the future dev diary. Now recently, numerous PlayStation 4 owners have discovered that they can no longer land on planets in Elite Dangerous, despite owning Horizons. In fact, since the 27th of October, all owners of Elite Dangerous have been updated to include Horizons, and therefore everyone should be able to land on planets. This problem was first reported back in January, and has since accumulated over 400 responses on Frontier's issue tracker. There have been reports that it started working a few days ago, but has since stopped working again, although I haven't been able to verify this for this part of the situation. Now, according to the issues tracker, Frontier are aware of this issue. In fact, Frontier support have even posted on Reddit acknowledging the problem and asking certain users for more information. Currently, the developers are unable to give a timeline as to when to expect a fix, however they have said that it is a very high priority for them. Now, it's entirely unclear exactly how many users this is affecting. It does seem likely if those numbers were very high, we would be seeing a large outcry on the internet. That said, I went ahead and put up a poll on my YouTube channel just to try and get a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. The poll included 3 answers. I've lost access to Horizons on the PS4. I own Elite Dangerous Horizons on the PS4 and everything is fine. and a third option, I don't own Elite Dangerous on the PS4, and that option was there just to not skew the other data. So basically what we've got here are the two most important answers. 5% of people say they have lost access to Horizons on the PlayStation 4. 9% say they haven't, that everything is still fine. So what this seems to tell us is that, according to the responders of this poll at least, 1/3 of PlayStation users can no longer access planets despite owning all the required DLC. Now, how that extends to the rest of the community, there's no real way to tell, but it does give us a bit of an indication as to the potential scale of this issue. Personally, I'd like to see Frontier make a bit more of a public statement on this. It's all well and good seeing a few comments on Reddit and on the issues tracker, but it would be very nice just to let people know what is going on and to allay some of the concerns that the community currently have. Speculation is rife that new ships are heading to Elite Dangerous thanks to the latest news postings from Galnet. You may remember that over the past few months there's been a lot of in-game lore surrounding the purchase of ship manufacturer Lakon Spaceways. Recently, the company was due to be sold to Core Dynamics, makers of the Federal Corvette and numerous other ships. However, this sale was recently declared illegal thanks to the actions of Core Dynamics' former CEO, Jupiter Rochester. More information on that in just a moment. So the loss of the sale has put Lakon into a difficult position as they were already financially struggling. Fortunately for them then, the Alliance has stepped in to help. The third superpower of the galaxy has purchased shares in the company and will be helping to keep the corporation in business. Galnet reports that Lakon will now be migrating its business resources, or many of its business resources, to Alliance space, specifically the Alioth system, which is capital to the Alliance. The Alliance and Lakon, of course, have always had strong ties, with the Alliance chieftain being produced by the company. Now, this does bring up a few pieces of speculation. One in particular that I'm going to mention is that the Alliance is the only superpower that doesn't currently have its own capital-class battleship. Maybe Lakon will help that change. Either way, whatever the future plans for Lakon and the Alliance are, chances are it seems pretty good that a new ship might just be on the cards. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, on the subject of Jupiter Rochester, the former CEO of Core Dynamics still has an active arrest warrant on his head. He is currently located in the HIP 54530 star system, being protected by his faction, Jupiter Division, over which he has declared himself Supreme Executive. Now, the arrest for Jupiter Rochester is because he blew up Starship One, or arranged for it to be blown up with his co-conspirators. Starship One, of course, was the spaceship of former Federation President Jasmina Halsey. This led to the installation of the current president, Zachary Hudson. Now, many in the Federation are wondering whether Hudson had any involvement in all of this, because obviously he did gain from it. And of course, he quite naturally denies all knowledge. Galnet claims that public opinion polls now show a decrease of trust in the Republican Party. Meanwhile, the Liberal Party has tried to distance itself from the situation. Jupiter Rochester's mother, Shadow Vice President Rochester, states her whole family is appalled at the action of her eldest son and that they are working with the authorities to bring him to justice. That then brings us to an end of this episode of 3307. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.